The United States and Britain have issued a security alert for Kabul. US and UK have warned their citizens to avoid hotels in the Afghan capital. The warning comes days after dozens were killed at a mosque in an attack claimed by the Islamic State. The US State Department has issued a statement saying, quote, US citizens who are at or near the Serena Hotel should leave immediately, end of quote. Meanwhile, Britain's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office added, quote, in light of the increased risks, you are advised not to stay in hotels, particularly in Kabul, such as the Serena Hotel, end of quote. The Taliban, which seized power in August, are seeking international recognition and assistance to avoid a humanitarian disaster and ease Afghanistan's economic crisis. But as the hardline Islamist group transitions from a rebel army to a governing power, they are struggling to contain the threat from the Afghanistan chapter of the Islamic State. Islamic State has been carrying out attacks on the Taliban and Afghan civilians. Recently, over 60 people were killed in the ISIS suicide bombing at a mosque in Afghanistan's northern Kunduz city. Since the Taliban takeover, many foreigners have left Afghanistan, but some journalists and aid workers remain in the capital. The well-known Serena, a luxury hotel popular with business travelers and foreign guests, has twice been the target of attacks by the Taliban. Well, for more on this, our correspondent Anas Malik joins us live from Kabul. Anas Malik, good to see you. Could this indicate that UK or US is fearing or could be aware of an imminent attack? And what impact will these alerts have on the Taliban government, especially after their Doha talks with the US?
Well, Eric, with regards to this recent threat, it came 3 days ago and it has just been expanding. 3 days back, we heard that the IS-K is planning to attack a hotel, a prominent hotel here in Kabul, which is a foreigners spot where a lot of foreigners stay through a VBID. A day before, we heard that through Taliban intelligence people that the attack the horizon of the attack has expanded, and they would now be at the VBID can possibly be followed by a gun attack as well. After that, this information was this Taliban intelligence information was relayed to their international collaborators, who had then relayed that information to the United States. After which we saw yesterday the State Department coming out with a threat alert and an advisory to the US citizens, advising them to stay away from a very prominent hotel here in Kabul. And late last night we saw the UK government following suit as well. So that it was initially the Taliban intelligence that now has been verified, that was shared through their through their international collaborators with the US, and the US has indeed verified it, and after that they have put out this release. With regards to, in the backdrop of Doha talks, there were talks with regards to intelligence sharing that was being done, with regards to counter-terror cooperation, in fact that was done, but that came with the caveat that the Taliban would not be sharing intelligence on their part with the US, and that they look forward to working with them in the counter-terror area. Again, they also in fact denied permission to the US to use drones or to carry out these over-the-horizon airstrikes that have been happening in Afghanistan, especially that one of them that took place on the 29th of August, just before the US forces left. So the Taliban seemingly trying to give the semblance that they are vehemently independent, they are not dependent, that they have the wherewithal to tackle all of these threats. And in the past 3 days, we've seen that be the security of that hotel that you've just mentioned, or elsewhere in the city, we've seen beefed up security measures. We've seen more and more Taliban patrols, Taliban escorts, and more Taliban checkpoints as well being set up, where they are checking people and they're not letting anybody through in case if they don't have proper documentation. Eric?
Malik, doesn't the attacks by such groups as ISIS-K put the Taliban government in jeopardy in their quest for international recognition and vouch for humanitarian and economic assistance?
Well, yes, any such attack would put Taliban's efforts of seeking international recognition under jeopardy or under a question mark, because Taliban's USP, or when they entered the city of Kabul on the 15th of August and took over Afghanistan, they entered with pride they took great pride in security. In that USP there was that they've made Afghanistan much more secure. But over the past few days, we've seen, in fact over the past month, we've seen these ramped up attacks by the Islamic State, and they first started off from east. It came down to the capital of Kabul, and then just 2 days back we saw that attack in Kunduz as well. Now with these attacks being ramped up, the Taliban say that it's not a bigger problem. I spoke to Zabihullah Mujahid yesterday, the spokesperson of the Afghan Taliban, and in an exclusive conversation with WION, he said that the IS is not a problem, and that the Taliban have the wherewithal. He claimed rather that the Taliban have the wherewithal to counter the menace of IS. He also said that they are conducting these operations against these quote-unquote sleeper cells. They have made arrests, and that soon they will be eradicating the Islamic State from the Afghan soil. That remains, for now, it is a challenge. It's a tall claim that has been made, but with these threats that have been renewed, that have been coming in, and now these precise threats with regards to a prominent hotel here in Kabul, which houses a lot of foreigners, and which includes journalists as well. This goes on to show the magnitude of a level that can be inflicted by the IS, and the level of preparation that they have. That would certainly be a challenge for the Taliban. Eric?
Finally, Malik, how is the Taliban handling this tensions, security situation and lapses in Afghanistan? How are they assuring the citizens of their safety? Are they even concerned about that?
Well, one thing that is for sure, at least prima facie, they are concerned. They are trying to give the semblance that they are concerned, and they have been advising people to stay away from public areas, to stay away from large gatherings. In fact, in Kunduz as well, when the blast had already happened, which saw more than 60 people being dead and 149 being injured, they had specifically asked people to not gather, to not conduct mass gatherings or not gather en masse. But that is something that is unavoidable, because we see there are large congregations, there are large gatherings that are held. In fact, just for prayers as well, we've got bigger mosques over here, so they've put down extra security, extra pen. They've called them from their what they say is their reserve force, the Fateh unit, and we've seen at least in the past 3 days, we've seen ramped up security measures. But that it was the case last week as well, when that suicide explosion took place outside the Eidgah Mosque, when Zabihullah Mujahid, when the memorial was ongoing, was for Zabihullah Mujahid's mother. So these terror-linked elements or IS-linked elements, despite the fact that how much security that these Taliban men would try to ensure, they do try to find a way, and they do make their way out. So that would be the bigger challenge for the Taliban. And for now, they are, at least prima facie, they are genuinely concerned about it. Eric?
Live from Kabul, Afghanistan. Thank you very much, Anas Malik, for talking to us.